And I think we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. It is a fine Friday. We are currently in the second day of the new Guild Battleground. So I wanted to get out of the way the new stores. I believe everything in this first store is pretty much the same, units and buildings. And then in the second store, we have received a new large building called the Warforge Assembly, level 1 and level 2. So it takes up a 4x5 space. So on the larger side, I think, of the Guild Battleground. Decent attack, boosts attack and defense. Actually, it gives a lot more defense, or a lot more attack and defense for defending army. It also gives a very large amount of guild goods, which is interesting. I think that's the first. That's a first for the Guild Battleground buildings. And then the smaller building for Guild Battleground is the Warforged Trench, and this is a 3x1. Focuses on just vanilla attack and defense for attacking and defending armies. So, real quick, we'll check out the spreadsheet. So it does not surpass Ironclad Depot level 2. But that being said, the level 2 is right behind Warforged Assembly. And then the Warforged Trench is third best right now, which is interesting. A lot of times you had, I think, like the Somerset Infirmary, like that one was down here. Ironclad, let me see, Ironclad Provisions was down here. So I think, it's interesting that the Warforged Trench is ranked so high up, but at the same time, it's only 3 spaces. So I guess it makes sense. And then Warforged Assembly level 1 is actually better than the Ironclad Depot level 1. And then Warforged Trench level 1 is ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Do you determine score for buildings in your spreadsheet? Or how do you determine? Yeah, we can get into that real quick. So I went over this quickly on the efficiency video, but basically, if I open this up, you have all of the different things, all of the different, let's say, characteristics or attributes of the building. Well, and I shouldn't say all, because it's not all of them. It's the attributes that I deem important to the buildings that I want. So, like for example, I don't have fragments of finished special production in here. I don't have, I don't know, like if you get forge packs, or if you get like random stuff like that. So what I do have though, and I'll try to cover this quickly, but I have attacking for attacking army, defense for attacking army, and then same attack and defense for defending army. FP is forge points, goods, units, and then all the way over here is basically attack and defense for attacking and defending armies of Guild Battleground, Guild Expedition, and Quantum Incursion. So that's all that I have. Now, I don't just have all of these things added up one for one. So what I do is, if you go to this section here, so this one says space efficiency. It's like this section is the space efficiency of it. And so basically I'll say, okay, like for example, D2 is the attacking boost of the attacking army. So that's 700 for Ironclad Depot, and it takes up 16 spaces. So that means that the space efficiency of that building is 700 divided by 16, which is 43.75. That's its efficiency score specifically for the vanilla attack of the attacking army. I then do that for basically every attribute. So every attribute gets its own score. And then when I add them all up, it's not, again, it's not just adding them all up, one for one. I weight, like rank all of these attributes in a certain way. So for example, if we go here, so and it might be difficult to see, but L2 is the attack boost for attacking army. That number is multiplied by 5. But the defensive boost for attacking army is only multiplied by 4. What's next? Or no, P2. That's forge points. Forge points is multiplied by 4. M2, defense of attacking army is multiplied by 3. Um, attack of defending army is multiplied by 5. So you get the picture. So that kind of dictates how everything is weighted. And like goods and units, those are only multiplied by 1, or effectively not multiplied by anything. And so someone recently said, well, no wonder certain buildings are weighted higher than others when you're weighting goods and units lower than attack and defense boost. Well, yeah. Now, I'm not saying that system is perfect for everyone. I think it's good for me because at this time I have a lot of goods and I have a lot of units, so I don't need many more. And so that's why for me personally, I weight them so low. And just to go over here, like for the Guild Battleground and Guild Expedition, so like Guild Battleground, I think I weight, let me see, I can go through this. So like Guild Battleground and Guild Expedition and Quantum Incursion attack and defense boost, I weight lower than like just the vanilla attack and defense. And so that's because the like the normal attack and defense that contributes to your Guild Expedition, Guild Battleground, like that covers more than just a specific mini game. And so that's why I think it's higher weighted because you can use it for more stuff. Um, Let me know if that answers your question. Like I said, that was a very condensed version of what I went through for the building efficiency video. Um, but I've definitely seen a lot of people saying that, oh, well, I don't agree with how you're weighting this, or I don't agree with, how you're doing your spreadsheet. That's fine. I mean, I never said that it was the perfect spreadsheet for everyone. What I want to do is just make sure that everyone has something where they can create their own spreadsheet. And you can weight stuff however you want. If you need goods, if you need units, if you're lacking in forge points, maybe your forge points are going to be higher weighted and your units are going to be higher rated, something like that. So the spreadsheet is basically just a template for you to use, so that when you need to figure out, if a building is good for you or not, you can punch in your own numbers and you can punch in the new building, and then you can figure that out. So, so we covered the new Warforge buildings. I'm waiting about 3 minutes now to see if I can get some fights in Guild Battleground. So in the meantime, I'm doing the new pirate settlement. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to chime in. All right, so looks like I answered your question sufficiently, which is good. Yeah, so in addition to, four of a kind. So in addition to, just normal, Forge of Empire stuff, I did want to kind of cover, as this is, this is still new, the streams for me, but I want to make it like a normal thing. I want to make this, like a every other Friday type of thing. Luckily, I have off of work every other Friday, so I think that'll work out. Unless I'm traveling or something like that, So basically, if you have your calendar in front of you, um, it'll be the 30th. January 30th will be the next stream. I'm gonna try to keep it during the day, like around this time. I know I originally scheduled this one for 12:30, and then I had to move it for 1 o'clock just because some other things came up. But basically, I want this stream to be kind of part of the channel now. So new year, better channel. Gonna try to do more stuff. Half because I do enjoy it. I like talking about the game. I enjoy playing the game, and if I figure if I'm going to be on this game as much as I am anyway, then I might as well you know share it with some other people playing. Um, so yeah. What else did I want to talk about? So I think streaming. I started to do some shorts. The problem is I'm not a very good video editor, and just finding like a small enough um, like clip for me to like post as a short is fairly difficult. I also tend to ramble very much. Not that I like to hear myself talk, but I think having this YouTube channel for as long as I have, I've gotten fairly good at being able to talk for longer amount of time. And so shorts being a minute and a half or 2 minutes, I feel like I can't get enough information in that short of a video. So shorts are difficult for me. Obviously, my videos have gotten longer. Let's see if we can help get this sector. Um, I think the wife. Um, Sorry about that. Let's see. The one thing that I've noticed is as I'm clicking on this Guild Battleground, sometimes I think that they've tried to stop auto clickers. Um, so like if I'm clicking really, really quickly, sometimes it'll just completely stop, like it'll stop registering. We almost had that. Unfortunately, I got distracted halfway through, so that's fine. Um, but yeah, I think it's weird. Like sometimes I'll be clicking on a sector like very, very quickly, and um, I don't know. It's like it won't react to the clicking. Like I'll have to like move my mouse around a little bit, like back and forth or something. Because I think it's well, it probably isn't to deter auto clicking. I'd like to think it is because there's been a lot of people in this game, crying foul on people using auto clickers and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's a weird thing that I've found as I'm playing Guild Battleground is that a lot of times I feel like I have to go back and forth with my mouse. Um, so let me see. Uh, so waiting for some stuff there. Let's see what else we can do in the meantime. Check out the new wildlife event. Let's see if we can get some stuff there. And of course, now that I'm on stream, it's going to go horribly, and everyone's going to be like, this person stinks at this game, um, which is not half wrong. Um, does anyone have any opinions on the wildlife event so far? I know I just did a video the other day on the different wildlife event buildings. I'm excited for the upgrades to the Flamingo and the Animal Crossing. I think that should be pretty good. I'm quickly getting to the amount of coins that I need in order to purchase those upgrades, so that's good. Um, I mean, they haven't updated the gameplay at all. I know I just did a video recently on the gameplay, um, but it's pretty much the same as not only recent years of wildlife event, but I'm pretty sure they've used this type of mechanic um, before or recently for other events as well. Let's see if I can get these two left. I'm not going to be able to do it. It's just this one paw. That's fine. Yeah, I think overall, I think the wildlife event is usually okay. Um, I've said in the past um, that the wildlife event is like the first event of the year, and so like I feel like a lot of people don't get into it because they know it's going to be like not as good of not as good of buildings or not as good of rewards and stuff like that. Curious to see what other people think though. I mean, that's just what I've found. I always think that the wildlife event is always undercut, and I was mentioning in the building efficiency video for the wildlife event that I mean you can even tell like the Halloween event and the Christmas event from last year, like a lot of those buildings are still beating out the wildlife event buildings of this new year. So again, it just doesn't really make sense to focus really or to put in diamonds or put in money to the wildlife event because it just kind of seems like it's not going to give as good of a return as other events. It seems silly talking like that about a mobile game, like return on investment and stuff like that. So this sector is a little bit less of a race. So that's good. And I'm not moving my mouse around. So I don't know, maybe it's just lag sometimes. Maybe my mouse just I don't know, doesn't or just stops working at some point. Um, but yeah. Uh, what else? So we've done the new event. We've done new buildings for Guild Battleground. We did a quick look at the spreadsheet. Um, yeah, for the most part, I've got a decent amount of video ideas coming up in the pipeline. Um, obviously, covering some stuff in the stream. Um, I don't know if people prefer the standalone videos or if you want me to cover more stuff in the stream. Do you want the stream to be more like just like a Q&A type thing? Like I said, this is only the third one that I've done so far. So, um, depending on what people prefer, I can keep like, having specific specific videos on like certain things like releases of guild expedition stuff or guild battleground stuff, and then I can just keep the streams more informal, and then the streams can just be for people popping in and just asking questions on stuff. So um, make sure that you're getting your incidents around your city. I've found a good amount of wildlife coins recently. I'll go to flat mode, zoom in a little bit. Let's see if there's anything on my roads. Nothing right now. Um, yeah, I don't just want to. Let me see. Someone said there's another one coming up. What else is coming up? B4H. B4H. We already took that one. Okay. Yeah, that was 5 minutes ago. All right. So I think that's it. I think maybe there's a couple more coming up. This one, that's in 20 minutes. That's in 34. Yeah, there might be a couple coming up at some point, but probably no more for this stream, which is fine. Um, let's see, what else? So you just saw still leveling up my great buildings, still trying to get everything up to level 100. At this point, my biggest issue, my biggest hurdle is finding enough blueprints for the not well-liked great buildings. So for example, the Gaia statue, um, almost no one has this, so it's very, very difficult to find um, blueprints. So I only have up to level 60, and I need to get up to level 100. Um, so I think that's going to be my biggest hurdle, is just actually finding the blueprints to get up to that level. Um, Someone did post on, I think I forget what video it was, right? I was saying how one of my goals was to um, get up to level 100 on everything. And someone was like, oh, someone already did that. They got everything up to level 120. I was like, all right, I'm not going to be the first. But I forget if they said what world they were in. So I might be the first one on Quartz. Um, because right now I'm on Quartz. Um, so I might be the first one on this world to have everything up to level 100. Um, I sometimes look, if you go to, where is it? You go to this, and then Great Buildings, and then you can search by Great Building. So like, for example, well, maybe not. I thought you could search by, okay, you can. Yeah, so someone has 126, someone has 116. So now let's see if they have Notre Dame. See, so I'm currently rated the highest Notre Dame in the world, in this world. So if someone else gets up to level 100, then I'll have to check and see if they have the other great buildings. But like that's an example of like, Rommel had a Gaia statue of, 126, but he doesn't have a Notre Dame up in the 100s. What's another one that a lot of people don't have? Space Needle. A lot of people don't have Space Needle. Um, yeah, like it's just I don't know. It's one of those great buildings that doesn't really give you much. Gives you happiness and a couple coins, like less than 1 million coins, which is funny because you go to, let's see if I can try to find an event building that gives coins. Because honestly, a lot of event buildings don't give coins either. Um, let's see. Yeah, so like this isn't an event building. The Shinto temple is from the Japanese settlement minigame, but this gives 7.4 million coins. So, and it takes up less space, I think, than the Space Needle. And then it also gives like, all the other goods and forge points and, boosts and stuff like that. So a lot of people all the time are just like, why are you building this? Like, why are you building Royal Albert Hall? Why are you building Space Needle? It's literally just a silly goal that I have. Um, and I think it's because at some point the game was too easy for me and it was getting boring. And so this is kind of a way that I have um, handicapped myself in that, like, yeah, like, having Notre Dame and having, Hagia Sophia and, stuff like that, having all of these things in here, I'm basically removing all of that space that I could be using for special event buildings. So I'm making it more difficult on myself and I'm making it more interesting to try and, beat the game, try and, beat, Trial 55. That's something we can look at. So I did a video on Trial 55. Um, and I said it wasn't worth it. Of course, I am continuing to play it because I want to get enough fragments for this ancient temple that everyone keeps talking about, and everyone thinks that it's great. If you think it's great, that's fine. I'm not going to argue with you, but in my opinion, I don't think that it's worth it. Um, and just as a gut check, go to ancient temple. So here's the ancient temple stats. Takes up the same amount of space as Forgotten Temple. It gives goods collection boost, and then I believe it gives less. Let me see. If I just do temple, then I get the Forgotten Temple too. So Forgotten Temple gives 150% for Guild Battleground and everything, and it gives 40% for attack, 50% for, or 40% for attacking army, 50% for defending army, and then 50% for quantum incursion. So this gives 150% for Guild Battleground. It gives 100% for both attacking and defending army. Okay, so it is slightly better for just the vanilla attack and defense for attacking and defending army. It is better than Forgotten Temple. However, they qualify it as a unique building, so you can only build 2 at a time, which my favorite thing is saving up like 5 or 6 Forgotten Temples and placing them all at the same time and getting like hundreds of percent boost for forge points. Um, so I mean, so you're upping your goods collection by 40% at most. So your eternal market is going to give 650 times 40%. So it's going to give 910 goods instead of 650. I mean, okay, I guess that's fine. I don't know. Let me know what you think. For the amount of work that you have to do to get it, because how many weeks have we been doing Guild Expedition now, and I still only have 136 fragments. So I think you get on average like 38 fragments um, every week. So I'm gonna have to do 2 more weeks. So I think it's around 5 weeks total to get an ancient temple and it's just trial 55. I think trial 55 is the only one that gets you the ancient temple fragments. And I'm beating it, fairly well. I think it's because I've been focusing on Guild Expedition boosts. So I've been doing the Neo Lunara. I've been trying to get more Guild Expedition or just vanilla boost because, like I said, it adds on to it. But like if you go to my boost overview, go down to Guild Expedition, like I have over 23,000% and over 22,000% for attack and defense respectively. And then for defending army, it's still around 21,000. But like that's the level that I have to be at for me to finish trial 55 every week. And again, as far as efficiency goes, I could instead be you know taking out some of the buildings that are Guild Expedition focused, and I could put them towards um, Guild Battleground focused, because I am lower there. And, instead I could be getting just a few more, attacks in for Guild Battleground, getting a few more coins, honestly, just making a little bit more there. Um, let's see, what else? Oh, the last thing that I'll say before I end the stream, the one video that I did about the quote unquote free money, and I will fight on this hill if I need to. Um, Everyone's saying that completing tasks and getting money is not free money. My argument is not that it's not necessarily doing nothing, but it's extremely low effort stuff. So, like the example that I've been thinking of is, let's say that you see a dollar on the ground, but it's across the street. So your quote unquote task is now you have to cross the street and pick up the dollar. Would you quantify that dollar as free money, or did you have to do a task in order to get that money? That's my question. So if you say that that's not free money because you did have to do a task in order to get that money, you literally found a dollar on the street, on the ground, but it's not free money because you had to do a task. You had to cross the street and pick it up. You had to bend over. All right? Because my argument is I'm sitting at my desk on my phone. I click my phone like 4 times with my thumb, and I get like 25 cents to a dollar from Google Opinion Rewards. So that's it. I'm just saying, for the people that saying it's not free money, it's very, very low effort money then. If anything, you have to agree with that. You have to agree that it's very, very low effort. Um, and the reason why I spent that money on this game was because one, I enjoy this game, and I've almost never spent anything on this game anyway. So the Google Play and the Google Opinion Rewards money that I have can't really go towards anything else. Like you can basically just spend it on any of their apps, but this is the most played app that I have. I mean, you could maybe argue Pokemon Go, that I never post about, but I do play that game very often. That's probably my second played game. And then everything else is kind of just like a normal, like Duolingo isn't even a game. Um, but I'm on that fairly often trying to learn Italian. Um, but yeah, so that's the last thing I'll say. I've gotten so many comments from people with that have had issue with me saying that it's free money. I'll stop saying that it's free money. I'll say that it's very low effort, and we'll keep it at that. So we'll end the stream there. Like I said, if you enjoy me focusing on stuff in the stream, if you want me to do, like if you want me to cover like any updates that they make to the game. I know a lot of times they'll release like bug fixes or anything like that. Like I can go over stuff like that. I'm not usually interested in that stuff unless it's like unless it's a big change to the game that really affects gameplay or anything like that. I usually just I let the bug fixes go. I know a lot of people like to look at the game log and stuff like that. I can cover that if you want. Other than that, I'll kind of just pop on, play for a half an hour. If there's Guild Battleground going on, most likely around this time, a lot of the fights start opening because it's on that like 4 hour cycle. Um, if you want me to cover, if you want me to save Guild Expedition fights, if you want to see how I do going through Trial 55, I can do that. Um, if you want to look at, actually, we didn't even look at Quantum Incursion. Um, I think Quantum Incursion's been going pretty well. I just recently did the video on getting the Quantum Pass, so I've really been trying to get as many fights as possible so that I can get as far as I can on these tiers. Um, so you can see I'm getting close to maxing out my capacity, so I'll probably do a couple fights soon. Um, yeah, I mean, nothing really changed with the store so far. Still trying to get the Lunara bazaars, and then I'm actually trying to trying to finish out my Platinum Neo Colossus, Neo Colossi, Colossuses. So I have 4 out of 6 done right now. Um, so I have these 2 left. I'm out of space right now because I put down all these different buildings for put all these different buildings down that give like the quantum incursion boosts. So like the Royal Carriage and let's see what else. I think the Ascended Snowdrop I recently put down, the Holly Hauler, Usagi Bunbury Gate, stuff like that. Nomad's Nook. So these are gonna go away in 21 days, but it's funny. I unfortunately don't have any space, so the second task of this quest line is build 5 decorations from your age, and the decoration for my age is a 2 by 2, so I literally can't fit it anywhere. So I'm like desperately trying to figure out. I might honestly just store a building and place everything and then just place the building back down. So maybe I'll do that tomorrow. But first world problems. So anyway, I think we'll end the stream there. Thanks very much for watching. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below. If you enjoyed the stream, please join me next time. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and I'll catch you all later. And as always, keep on jamming.